Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with a very exciting video. It's my first video of 2023 and today I'm introducing my new Panda palette. I am very excited about the palette I'm going to work on next year. It's going to be quite different from my last year's Panda palette, which is Modern Renaissance. And if you know, I still have a little bit of Modern Renaissance left, and I might continue working on that in this project. So I think I will update that next update. I won't show the palette in this video though, because I did post my Panda palette finale yesterday. So if you want to see where my Modern Renaissance palette is now, you can check that video out, but I don't want to spoil anything or show it in this video. I wanted to check out that one, so yeah, check that one out for Modern Renaissance. Today I am introducing a new palette, and the palette I'm going to work on is nothing else than the NYX Tutorials and Beauty Bay palette. This palette isn't that old, it's a couple of years now. I think I've had it for 2 years now, and my one looks like this. So this is what the color story looks like. It's very, like I said, different from last year. This is the first Beauty Bay palette that I ever tried. This is the one that made me fall in love with the formula, and I do love the color story. It is very colorful. There's a lot of colors in here, but there are a few neutrals popped in as well, so it is a bit of a mix, but there's definitely more colors than it was in my palette last year. And that's also kind of why I picked this, because I wanted to have some more variety. I feel like with Modern Renaissance, one of the reasons why I wasn't able to completely finish it, because spoiler alert, I wasn't, and obviously again I'm going to continue working on it in this project, was because a lot of the shades were used in the same way, so I couldn't use a lot of them at the same time. Whereas with this palette, yes, there are some shades in here that I can't use together maybe, and some that I use in the same way. However, there is more variety here because there is more tones, more different colors, more use variety in general, so I think I can get more use out of this one, where I use like more shades in one look. So I'm very excited to work on this one this year, and I'm gonna get into my kind of goals with this palette, how I'm gonna structure this project. But before I do so, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So the worst thing about this palette is the packaging, because it's really hard to hold up and talk about. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to insert a picture of the palette here when I'm talking about it, so it's easier to look at rather than me struggling to hold this one up. So I'm going to go through every shade and just talk through, because this is quite a large palette and I'm not sure I will be able to use up every single shade in here. So I'm going to just kind of breeze over every shade and let you know kind of which ones I'm hoping to finish, which ones I'm okay with just getting some use on. So first up we have the shade Redemption, which is a beautiful kind of bright orange color, and this one is one that I'm hoping to finish. I think I can use this one both as an eyeshadow but also as a blush, at least I hope so. And the good thing with these pans are that they are a bit bigger, so hopefully I can, I can easily fit brush in there, like a blush brush, to use as a blush as well. So that, hoping to multitask that one that way. Same with the next shade, which is Blend and Snap. Again, I'm hoping to finish it, but we'll see. The pink might not be as easily usable as the orange, although I'm wearing a pink look today and I'm loving it, so I might get equal amount of use out of that one. But again, I'm hoping to finish it. Next up we have Ivy, which is another shade that I'm hoping to finish. I'm going to use this mainly as an inner corner highlight and also as maybe a face highlight. The shade itself is quite sparkly, but I have tried it as a face highlighter before, and it does kind of show up quite beautifully. I have swatched it there, so you can see it gives a nice sheen, but it's definitely glittery, but it can work quite nicely on special occasions. But yeah, I'm hoping to finish that one as well. Slasher is one that I think might be a bit harder to finish. I'm gonna aim for it, but I don't expect myself to finish it because it is more of a deeper shade, and I don't think I'm gonna use too much of it every time I use it, so it's gonna be a bit harder, like I said. But I'm gonna get as much use out of that one as I can. With 5 AM, I am hoping to finish that one. It's a neutral brown, and I'm hoping, I can get enough use out of that one to finish it. Also, I've never panned completely one of these eyeshadows. I think they're quite big, like the gram per eyeshadow. Does it say on the back? Oh yeah, net weight is 2.3 grams per eyeshadow, which is quite a lot. So they might be quite hard eyeshadows to finish, but I'm hopeful. If I, after a couple months, see that it's impossible to finish all of the eyeshadows I'm aiming to, I'm just going to try to get as much use out of every single one that I mentioned. So yeah, that is the first row. Next up we have Roxy Catan, which is a beautiful kind of rose goldy kind of shade, and this is one that I might not finish completely. I have other shimmers in this palette that I prefer, but I'm hoping to pan on it and expand the pan quite significantly. I think the shimmers might be easier to finish than the mattes, but we'll see how I go throughout the year. But that is the next one. Wood of Law, which is the yellow shade in the palette, I'm hoping to finish this one too. I think it's one that I can use to blend out other shades, and I think I should be able to get through this one. Mikai, which is the red, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish, so again I'm just hoping to hit pan and get as much use out of it as I can. With Mila, which is the lighter brown in the palette, again I'm hoping to finish it. Again, I think I can use it in more everyday looks, which means that I should be able to get through this one. Underground really is not my favorite in this palette at all. It's probably one of my least favorite shades in the palette, so I'm not going to bother with this shade too much. I'm going to obviously try to get as much use as I can, but I'm going to focus on other shadows first. And with this one I already have pan, so I'm just going to hope to expand that a little bit, but I'm not going to be too worried about finishing this one. With Plot Twist, I already have pan on this one too, which is the first shade on the third row. It is a light blue, so I don't think I'm going to be able to incorporate this into everyday looks, but I'm hoping to expand the pan at least, but maybe not completely finish it. Again, if I can. With all the ones that I'm saying I'm not going to try to finish, if I can, I will obviously finish them, but it's not going to be my priority. Next to that we have the shade Aura, which is a beautiful kind of peachy tone. Again, it's another shimmer, and the shimmers in these palettes are very sparkly, very pretty. You can see it there. Again, I'm going to try to get as much use out of this one as I can. I think this one's going to be one that is easier to focus on, but I think it's also going to be quite similar to Roxy Catan, where I'm not going to worry too much about it if I don't finish it completely. Next to that though, we have the shade Basic Truth, which is one that I am going to try to finish. It's just a setting shade, or like a skin tone kind of shade. I'm showing you some swatches here, but I'm going to swatch out the palette fully in a second. This one is one that I definitely think I can finish. I can use this to blend out other shades, so definitely going to finish this one. Same with the next one, which is the shade All In. This is my favorite shimmer in the palette, and yeah, I'm definitely going to finish this one. It is one that I'm going to have so much joy in using, because it's a beautiful kind of duochrome sparkly eyeshadow, and it's kind of like a bronzy green shift, which is one of my favorite shifts, and I love that one a lot. Lastly, on the third row we have the shade Ooh, which is a really bright kind of weird tone green, and with this one again I'm not going to bother too much about finishing it completely, but I do want to hit pan on it and obviously work my way on it that way. Next up we have the shade Pride, which is the first shade on the fourth row, and this is another of my favorite shades in the palette. It's probably up there together with All In. I think All In is slightly more of my favorite, but I love Pride as well. It's just such a beautiful dimensional sparkly kind of pink shade, and again I'm hoping to finish this eyeshadow. Next up we had Summer, which is a peachy kind of shade, and again I think it's going to be one that I can finish. I'm at least going to try, and it's going to be one of my focus, because again I think I can use that one in more everyday looks. Next up, which is the center on the bottom row, we have Mama Tutorials. It's a beautiful light blue, but it's not my favorite. It's not super sparkly, so it's more kind of on a standard shimmer in this palette compared to some of the other ones. I like this, like I said, but I'm not too bothered if I don't finish it completely. Again, I'm going to give it my best shot, but that is kind of that shade. Then for the next one we have another blue, and that is the shade Amsterdam. I'm hoping again to obviously hit pan on this. I want to hit pan on every single shade in this palette by the end of the year, but again, if I don't finish it completely I'm not going to be too upset. Then lastly we have the shade Mrs. Tutorials, which is a beautiful olive green shimmer. Again, it's more kind of standard shimmer, standard metallic, rather than like those sparkly shades, but I do really like this one. I love the tone of it, and I think I can pair this quite nicely with All In to give it a bit more pizzazz. And this is another one that I'm going to try to get as much use out of as I can, and hopefully finish if I'm able to. So those are all the shades in the palette. Let me just go ahead and give you the swatches of the palette quickly, and then I will wrap up my intro. So here we have the palette. We're starting with the top row, second row, third row and fourth row. Not the best swatches, they are quite a few shades, so it was hard to swatch, but that is what they look like. Again, I'm gonna try to finish these first three here. I'm actually swatched out, and I quite prefer this shimmer here to this one. Those were like the two kind of rose gold shimmers I was talking about. I actually prefer the first one to the more peachy one. So yeah, I do want to focus on this one too. Same with this yellow, I'm going to try to finish that. and then also this brown here. Next I'm going to try to focus on these two here. I think this is all in, which I love, and then that is the kind of basic trot shade, which is that skin color shade. And then for the last row we have Pride, which is a beautiful shimmer. Again, that's one of my favorites. This peachy shade here, and then that shade up top, which are going to be my focus as well. So those are the shades. Again, I'm going to try to get as much use out of all of the shades as I can, but those that I mentioned are my kind of focuses. So for the palette, my goals for the first month is just going to be to try to get to know the palette, play around with it, and try to get as much use as I can out of it. I do want to just focus on, I'm not going to put any specific focus shades, however I'm going to try to hit at least 2 pans in the next month. I think I can do that. The pans in here are quite shallow, so I do think that is going to be a feasible goal. I might even be able to hit more than 2 pans, but I don't want to put too high of a goal before I have time to play with the palette and get to know it. So that is going to be my goal for this one. So that is my introduction for my Panda palette for 2023. 2023 sounds crazy to say, but we are in 2023 now, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of this choice of Panda palette. I mean, I've been talking about it for a couple, I think 1 or 2 months, so you might already know that this was going to be my Panda palette for 2023. But let me know what you think of this pick. I'm really excited to pan this palette. I haven't seen anyone else pan this palette, so it's going to be interesting to see how I go, especially because I don't know how long it actually takes to finish one of these eyeshadows. I know it is easy to pan on the Beauty Bay formula, but these eyeshadows again are quite big. They are bigger than some of the shades in the other Beauty Bay palette. So for example, like the Wilderness palette, Lovelies palette, those palettes, these pans are bigger, like they're wider. So I do think it's going to take a while to finish this palette, but it's going to be interesting to track it. But again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and otherwise I will catch you in my next one. Bye guys.